The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Shadow boxes come with a lifetime guarantee.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source. We got a packed show. I'm amazed at how much news there has been the last 2 or 3 weeks, but we got Tennessee football, baseball, basketball, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's in the news more now that he's retired than he was when he was playing. We have a Manning story every week to cover. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. Go ahead, by the way, zip us your questions now, and we will answer them as many as we can in overtime today online after today's show. This first segment of our show is brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. That's orthopedic care, heart care, ER care. When it comes to protecting your body, no one is more qualified in more areas than Tennova Healthcare. Learn more about them by visiting Tennova.com today. Just be sure to do it after the show. Not during the show, but after the show, go to Tennova.com. All right, I want to welcome in the panel today. We have Bob Hodge, Mike Strange, back from China and Thailand, Josh Ward. Bangkok didn't get him. And then we have Chuck Cavaleris down there. All
back
right.
from Norris Lake.
Okay, I'm back from Hancock.
Okay. Chuck, Mike?
South Knoxville.
All right, there we go. 2 weeks ago, the Sporting News put out its ranking. Had Tennessee listed at number 13. We showed people what the typical number 13 team had done for the last 7 or 8 years. Asked the panel, would that be good enough? Would that satisfy people? The response was no, it probably wouldn't satisfy people. And Vince Ferrara was here, and he said that it shouldn't satisfy people with the roster Tennessee has. All right, well, a couple of new ratings have come out this week. The first one is Stuart Mandel of Fox Sports, and he writes, I'll show you, it's now or never for fourth-year coach Butch Jones Vols, we'll circle back to that, who returned 17 starters from a team that won their last 6 games in 2015. So he has them number 8 in the nation, all right? Then you go to the next one, and that is Mark Schlabach of ESPN. He has the Volunteers ranked number 11 in the nation, and his summary has something like coming out of spring, quarterback Josh Dobbs continued to work to improve his passing accuracy, and sophomore receiver Preston Williams and JUCO transfer Jeff George emerged as go-to possibilities. Now, basically, Jeff George was heard of for those 3 catches he made in the spring game. A couple of those were made in one-on-one drills. I don't know that I would, rank Tennessee 11th because Jeff George has emerged. But again, these guys all have a macro view of everything. They're seeing it from on far. No knock on George. I thought he did look promising. But I don't know if he's part of the reason I'd have them ranked number 11.
Yeah, the spring game was the first time somebody said, hey, maybe they really can count on him in a bigger way than we thought.
Right. So my question, and then I want to show you what the last 5 number 8 and number 11 teams have done. In the AP poll, here's how they've wound up. 13-1, 10-2, 11-2, 11-2, 12-1 is the average of 11-2 for the number 8 team. Number 11 team, you see there 10-3, 9-3, 11-3, 11-2, 11-3, average of 10-3. All right, it's about a game difference. 11-2, 10-3. Which one seems more likely for Tennessee this fall? Chuck, I'll start with you.
I'll go with the number 11. I think you kind of look like Clemson there. 11-2 until you done. That's pretty good. But if you're going number 8, if you finish number 8, okay, then you're probably going to have to beat Florida. You're going to have to beat Alabama, and pretty much run the table. Only lose 1 or 2 games tops. Yeah. So, I think you're looking at that as number 11 from those teams there.
All right, he likes number 11. Guys, your thoughts?
Chuck likes that 11 Clemson and 2. I like number 8 Clemson and 2. There was also a Clemson 11 and 2 number 8. So I'll go with that one.
So you think it's more likely? No, we're talking about is it more likely Tennessee wins up number 8 in the nation? You think that's a legitimate? If you had to bet money, would you bet on them finishing number 11 in the nation, number 8 in the nation?
I wouldn't bet money on either one. but if I had to, John.
Okay, I'll bet.
Number 8.
Okay, you think 8 is more likely? Chuck thinks 11 is more likely.
If I had to bet money, I would probably go number 11 too, because there's a good chance you could face Alabama twice. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where you would get your 2 losses. I think if you beat you've got to beat Florida this year. You don't have to, but I think you should. But I still see them playing Alabama twice and losing twice, and that would get you more of a number 11 than a number 8.
If I bet on the finish, I would probably be more likely to bet on number 11. Preseason at number 8 does make sense to me because of what Tennessee has going in, but I still have concerns about certain positions about injury. What if that happens? And you could say that about a lot of teams, I recognize, but looking toward the finish, I would probably project more toward number 11, which is really good.
I think 11 is. If you wind up number 11 in the country from where this program was 4 years ago, no one should complain. They will, but they shouldn't. I would say 11 is probably more likely than number 8. This team lost 4 games last year. Now, they were close, 25 points from what I understand, the last 5 losses. Boy, I sound like Andy Griffith. Losses. The last 5 losses. All right. I don't know what all, but I think that when you look at this team, I just haven't seen that killer instinct yet against a really, really good team. They got on a roll last year. They beat a good Georgia team, but not a great Georgia team. But I haven't seen them really pound and put away a good team yet. Until I do, I'm not going to put them in the top 10 of the nation.
And I think you could really go back and make the argument that's why Bob Shoop was brought onto this staff. I think him and his defense can make the difference in those 2 games that it's going to take to elevate you to that status.
All right, let's get back to one other thing. Mandel, with his comment, it's now or never for Butch Jones. Just for kicks, let me put something up here. Tell me, let's say you got this guy as your coach. He goes 6-5-1 his first year, 6-6 second year, 7-5 third year, 6-6 his fourth year. Would you fire that guy? Would it be now or never that 4th year he doesn't do it? Do you fire him?
You know what? Today,
it's a trick question.
I think I know who it is.
I'm sure most of you do. Yeah.
But
Let's go ahead and show
today
it.
you would fire him.
All right. So
because he's not making any progress.
So in his first 4 years at Michigan State, you would have fired Nick Saban.
Yeah.
This idea, this now or never, that stood out to me like a sore thumb. I mean,
Yes,
look, I
I
get
agree.
the fact that you are set this year, and you're going to lose. We talked about it last week. You're probably going to lose a lot of guys next year, so you have to rebuild again. But do you really? Is Tennessee really in a position that
now or never?
Yeah,
no.
now or never. No, I know where we've been. Don't care. I don't care if he's got to go in the right direction. Direction doesn't count. Championships are nothing.
See, the way I look at it, it's now or probably 2 years from now.
Exactly.
Maybe, or 3
Now or
years
two,
from now.
3 years from now.
Because
Exactly.
he recruits so solid. I mean, he's proven his staff is a solid staff. He seems to have improved his staff. So now or never is just nuts.
Yeah,
now is a possibility, but never ought to be off the table.
Yeah.
Unless you just
I don't
totally
know
fall
Stuart
apart.
Mandel, but I think
Agreed.
he was probably thinking that they're not that Butch Jones ought to be fired because this is 4th year and he didn't get it done. I think he was thinking that fall off with all the people that they're losing next year.
Yeah,
But
it should take a spectacular disaster
overstated.
for you to have to move on after this year, right? It should be more now or later, especially
Now or later.
Those numbers with Nick Saban. Butch Jones' numbers are better right now, right? Considering he just won 9 games, back-to-back bowl wins. So now maybe to win the SEC championship is your first time to talk about it, but doesn't mean it can't happen if you don't.
And what people ought to always realize is everybody seems to forget where this program came from when he got here.
Yeah.
That it was in total disarray. That, I mean, you weren't at the bottom of the bottom, but you were very close to the bottom of the bottom. And it seems like people just want to say that never happened, never existed, and this hasn't built an upward curve.
It's like you get no credit for building it up because it shouldn't have been there in the first place. So that doesn't count that it builds up.
Even though you inherited that mess.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, you go back, last 2, well, not the last 2, we've had a couple in between, but last 2 big successful UT coaches took Johnny Majors a while to build it back. Now, would you have been better off moving on? No, he built it back. You kidding? 3 SEC championships in a 5-year span. And then you have Philip Fulmer. You know, if you go into it, his 4th year, Peyton Manning there, and you say, okay, it's now or never. You're going to beat Florida and win a conference championship now or never. Well, he didn't. Still didn't. Won it his 5th year and then won the national championship his 6th year. The idea of now or never, of all the things there, that one had me flipping and saying, was that Stuart Mandel or Howie Mandel? All right. When we come back, Peyton Manning. Someone posted a blurb. It's kind of an unclear blurb saying that he keeps hearing Peyton Manning wants to coach Tennessee. Didn't specify if he meant head coach, quarterback coach. Didn't say. That's put Butch Jones in a bit of a tight spot. We'll discuss when we come back.